Hi, welcome back to my channel, Open the Door. This is episode 164, Confessions of a Shapeshifter. Welcome back to all my regular viewers and subscribers, and a great big welcome to anyone new who is here with me today. So the shapeshifting, I'm not judging that people wear masks. I understand why people do it, but I can feel the difference between authenticity and adaptation. Maybe because I used to do it too. My message today is I recognize shape-shifting in others because I had to unlearn it myself. Not from being fake in a malicious way, but from surviving environments where authenticity didn't feel safe. Here's some of the main talking points of this episode. Number one, I learned to read the room before I learned to read myself. I became hyper-aware of energy and expectations of others. I adjusted my personality depending on who I was around or what room I was standing in. I was making myself easier to accept and easier to be around. I wanted connection so badly that I unconsciously edited myself. I became fluent in who people needed me to be. But the shape-shifting doesn't always look obvious. It shows up in subtle ways. Things like shrinking yourself, softening your opinions, hiding your spirituality, becoming more agreeable, mirroring other people's personalities instead of shining in your own, and changing your energy to avoid rejection. And I thought I was adaptable, but really I was afraid not to adapt and just be true to myself. But there's an exhaustion that comes with that after many years, in my case. A feeling of being disconnected from my true self. Not knowing which version of me was the real version. And eventually I had emotional burnout and I felt unseen. Even when I was trying to be true to myself, I felt unseen and unaccepted. People love versions of me I created for survival while the real me was staying hidden. And a lot of the time I didn't even know I was doing this. So that's one big point I want to make for you is you may very well be adapting your personality, your beliefs, your conversations around those who are in the room with you. And you may not even realize that you're doing it. That's what this episode is all about. So healing eventually changed things for me. I learned to speak more honestly, like I do on this channel. I've learned to tolerate discomfort. I've learned to allow misunderstanding instead of trying to argue or explain my way out of it. I've learned to be the same person across rooms, no matter what environment I'm in and no matter who is standing next to me. I'm no longer abandoning myself because of the desire that I had to belong. Healing was never about becoming someone new. It's about taking off the mask and stopping the performance that I was presenting to the world. I see all this very clearly now because I recognize the signs of shape-shifting in myself when I still do it sometimes, and in others. And it has these kind of signs are what I've noticed. A nervous over-adjusting, especially of a person's position or stance in a conversation. They may back down easily instead of standing in what their truth is. I've noticed forced personalities, or people shape-shift their personality based on what group they're with, socializing with, what environment they're in. I've noticed a lot of attention-seeking behaviors and approval-seeking behaviors and energy in others, and sometimes in myself. I've noticed spiritual or emotional performance where people exaggerate in order to gain attention or to modify and hide their true beliefs in something. So, and the common thread in all of this is that identity shifts depending on the audience. That's where the shape-shifting takes place. Now my perspective holds compassion instead of a sense of superiority. I don't say this from judgment. I say it from recognition. And hopefully to open your eyes and offer some wisdom and guidelines for how you can move out of shape-shifting and into standing in your truth and in your truth self. So here's some guidance for you, how to stop shape-shifting. Oh, sun's coming out. Yay. Number one, notice when you change around certain people. Pay attention to these things. Your voice changing, shrinking your opinions, pretending to agree, becoming overly agreeable, hiding parts of yourself and performing confidence, happiness, or toughness when that's really not your state of being in that particular moment of time. Number two, to help you to stop shape-shifting, would be to ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I'm fully myself? Because usually shape-shifting comes from a place of protecting. And we have fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of abandonment, fear of being misunderstood, and fear of standing alone. And so we protect ourselves from these fears by shape-shifting into what feels easier in the moment. Number three, stop auditioning to belong. You don't have to earn connection with others through abandoning yourself. The right people may not always agree with you, but they won't require you to disappear to stay connected to them. If acceptance only comes after self-abandonment, then it shouldn't be acceptable to you. Number four in my tips of how to stop shape-shifting is practice small acts of authenticity. And this doesn't have to be dramatic. You can start small by these type of things. Say what you actually think. Admit when you don't know something. Stop forcing energy that you just don't feel. Say no without over-explaining. Let yourself be quiet. Let yourself be different. Healing happens in tiny moments, little shifts in our awareness. And eventually those little shifts and little moments add up to change. Number five in how to stop shape-shifting is to get comfortable with disappointing people. This is one of the hardest parts. When you stop shape-shifting, some people will feel uncomfortable. Some relationships will change. Some people prefer the older version of you that was easier to control, but discomfort isn't danger. It's an indication that change is in process. So you have to learn to get comfortable with the uncomfortableness of sometimes disappointing people by standing in your truth. Number six, learn who you are outside of other people. Spend time asking yourself these questions. What do I actually believe? What feels true to me? What energizes me naturally? What values do I have that remain consistent across environments? Because many people who shapeshift have spent so long adapting that they've never met themselves fully. They're not even sure where they stand on certain things because they've never asked themselves the question. And my last tip to stop shapeshifting is to understand that authenticity feels vulnerable at first. It can feel awkward. You feel exposed, unsafe, and it's unfamiliar because you're not used to just openly speaking your thoughts and feelings and opinions without filtering it first. That doesn't mean that it's wrong, but it does mean that it will make you feel vulnerable, and it may, like I said before, make others around you uncomfortable because they're not used to this version of you. Here's some closing thoughts. If you spent your life becoming what other people needed you to be, you may not even realize how often you've abandoned yourself to belong. Healing begins when you stop shapeshifting for acceptance and start allowing yourself to be seen authentically, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. There's a different kind of peace that comes when you stop performing, stand in your truth, and take that truth out into the world. This is our episode for today. I hope you guys have been doing well. It's been a tough week. My family has incurred a sudden loss of one of our members. One of my family members has crossed over. So I've taken a little extra time to begin to process that. I do plan to record another video. Sorry, I feel like the energy just dropped. I'll be recording another video here shortly and bring that to you in just a few more days. In the meantime, I wish you peace, love, and light. I hope you've been doing well and being safe out there. Have a great day, and I'll see you again very soon. That's it for now. Bye.